Welcome back to Emporia, Kansas for the PDGA's coverage of the 2024 Professional Masters Disc Golf World Championships presented by Dynamic Discs. I'm Nathan Johnson, joined in the booth today by Dan Brooks-Wells. How's it going, Dan?
Doing really good, man. We got a really nice card today. Same card as yesterday, and I'll tell you what, similar conditions as well. It is pretty hot out here, and the only difference is it's a little less windy, so we might see some better scores today.
Yeah, still Joe Rovere out in front. Has built himself a pretty sizable lead over these competitors, but there's still a ton of golf left. We still have, oh gosh, I'm going to do some quick math here, 45 holes, I think. That's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. So plenty of time for these guys to still make a move and make this thing interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with this course, there's a lot of holes that we can get scoring on here. So let's start here at hole one. This is a par 3, 412 feet, OB on the right and OB in the water long. This is a tough hole to park because you got to get it out far and then have it swing way left. And you really got to try to test that left side.
Yeah, this hole takes elite hyzer power to reach. We'll see if Joe can do it. I mean, he's shown he's got more than enough distance to score out on these courses. Even, I don't think we've even mentioned it yet, but the guy's playing injured. He's had a shoulder injury he's working through, I should say, and hasn't really affected him at all. As you can see, that shot is just absolutely parked.
So good. He got that so high and let it, gave it some time to swing over. Let's see if Mika can do the same.
Yeah, had a very solid last round at Emporia, Champions Landing. See if he can back it up. Here, back at Jones.
He did have the hot round here on day 2, and I'm sure he's looking to come out and play even better.
McCabe. Yeah, that was a nice shot. I'll have an outside look at the birdie coming up. Hello, Eric. Thanks for the little wave. Struggled in round 3 over at the golf course, but he's just itching to shoot a good one here at Jones.
Yeah, seems to yank this one a little bit. Knows he needs that big power shot. And, whoa, so close to finding the OB. It doesn't get much closer than that.
Yeah, just barely hangs on. Jeff Faes rounding out the lead card. Also some struggles last round, but he's more than capable.
Yeah, you gotta forget about that, forget about the bad stuff, just focus on the positives, and he's going to leave himself with the circle's edge look right there to start his day off. McCabe a little strong on his throw. Probably looking to get up and down. Yeah, he's not even messing with it.
Just lays it up. You can see the banners in the background. Still quite a bit of breeze out there. This is Emporia, Kansas, so even the calm days are still pretty windy.
Right, and not for nothing, there's all sorts of gusts and stuff, right? So maybe it's calm for a half a second, and the next second you're dealing with a gusting headwind. But here's Faes for his first birdie look of the day.
Just a bit high.
At least he gave it a chance, I'd rather miss high than hit the basket low.
Yeah, so barring something crazy, as Joe taps in his birdie, another stroke on the card, and he has already stretched the lead to double digits here early in this 4th round.
Yeah, this is the course where Joe struggled out of his 3 rounds. He hasn't really struggled on any round, but out of his 3 rounds, this is where he struggled the most, I believe, due to the wind and kind of the putting. So see if he can ramp it up for this round. And we find ourselves at hole 2. This is a par 3, 342 feet. Kind of just a straight shot right at the basket. Just the mistake is going a little bit too long, I would say. Other than that, it's kind of a straight shot.
Yeah, tough to control the distance on this one. It's kind of a common theme on a lot of these courses. McCabe loves the combination of the high floor, low ceiling tee shot to kind of create this window off the tee. That was a bit overturned by Rovere. But makes the height control and nose angle control very important on these courses when you're trying to control the distance coming into the green.
Absolutely. Mika Laikko is also going with, looks like a mid-range to me. It looks like it was high out of his hand, and it does go a little right, and there is that one pine tree over there that you got to contend with.
Yeah, pretty easy mistake to make, just overturned a little bit, trying to avoid that road on the right-hand side. This is looking nice, leaking a little bit left, and does it check up? Ooh. Just barely.
I got to tell you, I think that might be like the 7th disc that was like just in bounds that we've seen over the last round and this round so far. Just cutting it close, keeping it exciting.
Yeah, early release for Jeff there. Fortunate to kind of not hit anything right out of the hand and stay in bounds. But yeah, you're right, Dan. We've had a ton of cart path, close calls this weekend. It's made for some definitely some interesting ground play. See if either of these guys over here in the bush have a runnable putt, or if they just opt for a pitch up.
Yeah, that tree, it's got all sorts of gaps in it, but I mean, it is thick and it is wide. Looks like he's just going to have to opt for this little step out forehand. Little flexor into the basket.
Yeah, that'll do just fine. Rovere was actually able to get out in front of it, so he does have an open look.
Yeah, I feel like this is a run.
Yeah, definitely trying to ring that one up from about 50 feet. Comes up a bit short. So McCabe takes his meter in from the out-of-bounds road and is left with this 26-27 footer. Sneaks it in there left side.
Go. Very nice. Always got to take advantage of those like little breaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is what good golfers do. If the course gives you a gift, got to make sure to cash that in and capitalize on it.
Everybody here is left tapping in as McCabe picks a stroke up on the card. We're going to hole 3. This is a par 3, 300 feet uphill, dogleg to the left. There is an OB road off to the left side, but I wouldn't think anyone's really worried about it too much. It's just kind of your stock hyzer. Played as the easiest hole on day 2. So this is a gotta get if there ever was one on this course.
And Eric McCabe, after that drive, is most likely going to get it, leaving himself about a 12-footer or so. Especially for a right-handed player. Just not much thought here. Take your overstable fairway driver and stick it in the hill, just like that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, lefties. Maybe it's not so much of a gotta get as it is for the righties.
That's disc golf, though, Dan.
Yeah.
It's a righty dominant sport.
That's what it is.
Ooh, got a little pull tap on him. Kind of a cruel roll away there. Gotta leave Laikko around 25-footer when he deserved to tap in.
Yeah, let's see what he makes out of that. And here's Jeff. Everyone throwing a very similar line. Jeff seems to be throwing a little bit steeper of a hyzer. He's going to like that one.
Yeah, going to work just fine. 4 for 4 inside the circle. See if they can connect on a couple of these tester putts. Like go up first, slightly uphill.
Center cut. No problem. Very nice. I'm wondering if the wind is active, which way it's blowing right now. I think these guys might be a little bit too close for it to even matter.
Yeah, hard to tell without the flags on the other course are nice for giving us a little bit more context. Bit harder
I guess if it was
to judge.
right, if it was really windy, we'd see their shirts blowing. So it can't be that bad out there right now.
Nope.
Still solid putts. 20 feet, 25 feet. And Joe here is rewarded with the shortest putt, just a little tap in, and nice star frame.
We're through 54 holes.
It is going to be an exciting championship Sunday.
Evelina with what might have been the single best drive in the division.
Evelina has been so good at throwing those direct lines.
2024 PDGA Champions Cup presented by Bushnell winner, Evelina Saladin.
Visit quirkygoodies.com today. We have over 100 fun, unique disc golf tees along with hats, stickers, metal wall art, and much more. Use code PDGA20 for 20% off.
Hole 4, par 4, 701 feet. You're trying to play a hyzer down into this landing zone right here in front of the drop zone. Then you want to pitch up through this gap and work your way into a little bit of an uphill green. Now there is a mando to hit. It is a telephone pole. You can kind of see it over there to the right. So you're just trying to throw something out here straight and left. And I believe we talked about how this is a really well-designed hole. It takes two really good golf shots to get the birdie, and McCabe puts it in the perfect spot.
Yeah, I believe this played as hole 18 on the Jones Supreme layout that they played at the World Championships a few years back. So definitely a great two-shot par 4.
Yeah, we don't see the Mando missed very often. I don't really think it's in anyone's head. If anything, people end up a little bit too far to the left, and you can see Rovere ends up right in front of that shorter tee pad, which would be the drop zone, so he'll be staring right at the gap.
Yeah, placement obviously coming into play on a hole like this. Just make sure you get the width right.
Yeah, and sometimes on shots like this, you want to try and get as close to the gap as you can, as Mika unfortunately hits one of those guardian trees on this first shot. When you get closer to the gap, it can cut you off if you're too far left or right. So not crushing it, but not laying up too much. There's a little bit of a touch here as well.
Yep, nice shot from Jeff Faes. Finds himself in the middle of the fairway. Yeah, so this is going to be a bit pinched for Laikko, and he's got the tree to contend with as well. Going to have to opt for the pad and pending.
Yeah, tough stance. Comes out early and high, and that's not OB in there, but it's going to be tough to find any sort of gaps.
Yeah, a rare scramble opportunity on these courses. As we see a great shot from Faes, can give himself a circle's edge look coming up. And yeah, I mean, just an absolutely perfect drive from Rovere. Staring right at it. Probably just a nice mid-range into the green. Dries up a bit short, right around 30 feet or so.
I feel like that dropped a little bit more than what it was supposed to. And McCabe ended up, left of Rovere, but it doesn't cut off the angle much at all, and it gives him a natural hyzer into the basket. I'm sure he's done this 1,000 times.
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure some players probably prefer this a little more.
Sure.
You know, it's tough to throw the. We always say it kind of jokingly, but it's true that the straight shot is the hardest shot in disc golf. So, you know, just being able to throw the natural flight of that disc, it's not a bad thing at all. This actually kind of fought through more than I expected for Laikko, so he's actually going to be able to get a pretty reasonable putt for his par coming up.
Here's Rovere for his birdie. Looks like circle's edge type range. Just short.
Didn't quite give it the height. We've seen that pretty common miss from Joe, just a bit low, and that's often what you see with that kind of pitch style putt, that the nose down, just not quite giving it the height or the spin to keep it in the air from that circle's edge distance. Much different putting style than Jeff Faes has got here with that low to high, nose up spinner, and that one catches a lot of chains, but unfortunately does not drop.
Yeah, maybe a little high, if anything, but that was a solid putt. So here we have McCabe for the only birdie on the card. And he's able to connect.
Yeah, hot start for Eric McCabe. 3 down through the first 4 holes is exactly what he's looking for here to try to make a push and get himself back into this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's able to get, 5 or 6 strokes by the end of this round, it's still him or Mika or Joe's game right now. We are headed to hole 5, par 3, 291-foot island. Now you can lay up short, or you can do what most people do and go for this island. If you do not land in bounds, you do have to go to the drop zone.
Such an interesting hole with that just minuscule. Got to be one of the smallest island greens in disc golf, especially at this distance.
Yeah, I think it's the distance that really makes it daunting. And just the shape of it too is kind of awkward. And McCabe finds the side of the rocks and ends up OB. He will be going to the drop zone. But that being said, this green, when you stand in it, you'll notice, you might not be able to tell by looking at it, but they are rubber pieces. So the disc lands softly.
Landed nice and soft for Joe Rovere. That was a great shot. Sticks it on the island green. Laikko trying to match. This might have a little too much on it. Oh, it catches that last tree and drops him short out of bounds.
Yeah, if you just... I think the goal is to hyzer in just after that, or just before that tree. This looks... Was that in?
Yeah, I think so. Caught
that. Okay.
that back wall. Had a lot of steam on it, but the height was pretty good. So we've got a couple putts from the drop zone, looking to save par. Laikko just a bit off.
Yeah, now this is decision time. This is a very runnable putt, very makeable. But if you run this one hard and run past, you're looking at another OB stroke.
Especially with McCabe's style putt, that hard spinner. Could get him into trouble, but that one just dries up a bit short.
Yeah, so this hole seemed to be either a 2 or a 4 for a lot of players. As Faes is able to get his bird, and Rovere will try to do the same.
Yeah, one of the wilder score separations that you're going to see. 34% birdie, 61% bogey. And if we do some quick math, I think that's only 5% par.
Something like that. I'm not no math wizard. But it's definitely a polarizing hole.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that results in the second hardest hole on the course to par at a 3.31 average. So,
right. But you have to go for it. This is not a hole that most people are laying up. Some people are laying up, but most people are going for the screen because everybody can throw 290 feet downhill who's in this event. We are headed to hole 6. This is a par 3, 336 feet. Pretty wide open. Really only 2 trees to contend with as we're flying by right there. You just don't want to go too deep. That's really the only mistake, and or flipping it over to the right, there's OB, but nothing really to worry about.
yeah, this is one of those holes that the worst case scenario is kind of like a 45, 50 footer for most people, I would think.
And there's a good shot by Joe, just a little long. And this is one of the ones, there's a lot of players who say like, oh, this hole's so easy, why is it out here? I'm not saying they say that about this hole, but that does happen every now and again, as Faes does the same route that Joe has taken, comes up a little shorter. And I'd say the tough part about it is that it's so easy, and it feels like I have to get this one, and just the mental anguish that might cause someone.
Yeah, a must-get birdie is you still have to throw at least one good shot.
Right.
And potentially more than that. So it's all about execution and most of the time putting. Eric McCabe not going to have to putt after that great drive, but yeah, still needs to be earned. Can't lack or have a lapse in focus.
And Mika Laikko is going to try and do the same thing that all other 3 competitors have done.
Unfortunately, catches that one tree short of the basket. It's going to drop him in shallow circle 2, so he's got this 40-footer for the birdie, but just a bit low.
Do you find on those gotta get holes where you're like 40 feet, you run them a little harder?
I make the most circle 2 putts on those easy holes where I'm frustrated with my drive, and then I feel like you have to make it. That's a really great putt from Joe, dropping it in from circle's edge. That's been the tough distance for him this week, so I'm sure he's happy to drop that one in.
Absolutely. His phase here is, I'd say, 25-ish feet. Definitely putts you want to make. There's a good solid stick by him.
Yeah, this hole 6 did play as the second easiest hole on the course behind hole 3 at a 2.61 average. So yes, very much a must-get birdie like we're saying, and 3 of the 4 members of our card are able to pick it up.
In a backyard kingdom, not so different from your own. A prince of southern royalty was born for plastic stone.
Hole 7, par 4, 539 feet. We see some players take this towering Anheuser off on this left side, hitting up somewhere in here for their first shot, and then pitching it up to this guarded green. Now there is an OB on the right in the form of a pond, and if you unfortunately find yourself on top of one of the buildings, that would also be considered out of bounds. So Joe seems like he is lining up this left Anheuser route. And I believe he got this one more turned than what he did round 1 or 2.
No way.
Maybe not. Oh, no. Wow. I'll tell you what. When I said those buildings are OB, I never thought anyone had a chance of throwing on them. That is a very unfortunate stick on top of that roof.
Yeah, what are the chances of that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when you said that, Dan. I was like, nobody's going to land on top of the building. Right. What are we doing here?
That's why I say it, I guess. And Faes taking the safer route. McCabe is testing this Anheuser route as well. He did this beautifully in round 2.
Avoids the building nicely, so he's going to be just barely in bounds, you know. So dangerous over there on that left side. But no, that was a well-thrown shot. That'll leave him in a very good position.
And Mika Laikko also taking this safer Heiser route. Works itself away from the water too. Leaves you a longer look into the pin, but still gettable. So here's what Rovere is left with after taking his meter away from the building. You see the building's kind of getting into his reach back.
It's a good time to remind everybody of the rules. If you want to, and you're out of bounds, you can always take the lie back as far as you want away in line with the basket. Definitely something Joe could have done there if he wanted a little more space. Obviously would have left him with a longer upshot, but maybe a little more peace of mind. Either way, he was able to execute it well and give himself a good chance at saving the par.
McCabe finding himself close to the building, but able to pitch this one up, and he'll have a tap in for his bird. And Laikko has a Heiser in, but catches one of the guardian trees, and will have a tester for his birdie putt.
That is a very nice birdie putt there from Mika Laikko, dropping it in from circle's edge.
Yeah, well done. Every now and again, you have that happen where you just catch a tree. You're like, I can't believe I hit that. But as long as you make the putt, all is well.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference on the scorecard. Jeff Faes got a similar distance birdie putt of his own, right about 30 feet or so, and he sneaks it in left side.
Nice corner pocket. You know, I think Macbeth had talked about how low left is the best catching spot on a basket. Maybe. Don't quote me.
I agree. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who was the first to say it. I'm sure many people have mentioned it, but yeah, especially as a Heiser putter.
Yeah,
tends to knock it down nicely.
And Joe is able to save that par after that crazy OB stroke he had to take. That's all in the past. We're on to hole 8. This is a par 3, 360 feet. OB water on the right, OB road on the left, dealing with a few of these guardian trees as you're coming into the basket. It's really just a straight shot, maybe like a little, flex, get over on it a little bit, let it Heiser back in.
Yep, just a couple of late trees to miss. Jeff with a very nice shot, just catches some cabbage at the end, but doesn't really affect it at all and scoots up right under the basket.
McCabe throwing a very similar line if this can swing left.
Good one. Thank you.
And it does just that. It'll be about 25-ish feet.
Yeah, this is definitely a putter's course. You're not really going to have too much early danger and scrambling on a lot of these holes. So if you can knock down a lot of those 20 to 40 footers, it's going to be a good day. This is leaking a bit left from Laikko, and we have our
Let's go
8th curb save, staying inbounds. Living on the edge. These guys just love to keep things interesting for us.
I'll tell you what, man. And Rovere, round 2, got over on this a little bit too much. Seems to make the correction here.
Yeah, checks up nicely right around that 25 to 28 foot range.
What?
And connects for
Dead
the birdie.
center. Mm-hmm. solid putting, some solid play from Joe as that takes him to 5 under par.
Surprisingly, this hole played right in the middle of the pack at a 2.89 average. So not in that must-get birdie category, but still want to knock these putts down after good drives from these guys. Laikko able to do just that. Capitalizes on the good break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, with a bit of a tester of his own, but that one's right on the stripe. Knocks down from the birdie, and looks like we're going to have ourselves another star frame. Well done,
Very
gents.
nice. Second one of the day, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Just as we would expect from our lead card here. And we are going to be at hole 9. This is a par 3, 375 feet. OB on the left side. Some patches of it you got to avoid. But the tough part is this tree is in the middle of all of these pines. So Faes, I'm sure, looking to attack this hole again. He unfortunately took a double bogey day 2, and I'm sure he's looking to get some strokes back.
Doesn't like it.
Does it manage to stay in, though? I think it did.
Yeah, we'll see if he has any sort of putt from over there. The really only major opening on this green is on that right-hand side. So, oh, as McCabe, this is a pretty bad grip lock. Catches that tree over there, drops him straight down.
Yeah, that was definitely a good tree, I would think. Sounds like the wind is picking up a little bit right now. And Mika throwing something really overstable and ripping on it. I mean, and that's that's as good as it gets. He has a limb to deal with, but that limb is like 15 feet from the basket.
Yeah, pretty much as good as you can draw it up there. I think we're kind of seeing, you know, some just subtle struggles on this hole, but this course kind of not lulls you to sleep per se, but there's a lot of shots in the 300 to 330 foot range. This one coming in at 375, slightly uphill, is like the first time in a while these guys have to like rip one. And I think we're seeing some misfires as a result of that. That is a very nice scramble shot, though, from Eric McCabe. Going to be able to save his par. And what does Jeff have over here?
Oh, man. It's not good when you start looking up like that.
Especially when you're only 50 feet from the basket.
No. Little scuba. Pretty
Not
good.
bad. Yeah, not bad at all. Gonna have some, I'm sure, branches to deal with, but it was a very nice shot, and Joe Rovere deals with those branches nicely, drops in the little knee putt for his birdie, putting himself at 31 under par for the tournament. And he is not slowing down anytime soon, I have to believe.
Sure doesn't seem that way. So after that scuba phase is left, this little tester over the branch, he's able to connect. I think Mika has a very similar look as well.
Yep, pretty much just in front of him. Similar lie. Gets his legal stance and taps that one in.
Yeah, it's like just makes it awkward enough. Like concentrate up for that 5 seconds. McCabe with a really nice save. You know, that's not a guaranteed from where he was. This is still a tough green to access.
And that does it for the front 9. We've seen some pretty solid scores from our lead card, all with a good amount of birdies. Joe Rovere leading the way as per usual with a nice 6 under front 9. Kale LaVisca looking to make some moves up the leaderboard, finds himself at 8 down through 9. That is some fire right there. We'll see if he can make the jump to the lead card. We got 9 holes left of this round 4 before we switch back to the country club for the last 27 holes. So make sure to check it out.